Welcome to this presentation. So my name is Dino, and this is my colleague Philip. So we work in the new business development team for Google, specifically for the Nordics. And we're going to talk to you a little bit about branding and how to grow your business through some of the advertising solutions that Google has to offer. So we're going to go through some let's say, typical frameworks and some pillars around branding digitally that we usually discuss with some of the companies that we work with. So if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to ask. So the first thing that we want to introduce is the opportunity that's out there digitally today, which is basically for you to be able to grow your brand in what we call the moments that matter with Google. And these moments, we're going to define a little bit about what they are. But the first thing we want to go into is a little bit about how we have, let's say, progressed in how we search for products, how we search for information, and eventually also how we search for different businesses. So if we think about what's going on in the market today, both here in Finland, but also globally, it is the trend of we don't go online, we live online. So I see a couple of smartphones, a tablet over there. And I'm sure if I were just to ask everyone who here has a smartphone on them today, put your hand up. Most of you. How many of you have your laptops here? Put your hand up. So there's a lot of people here who, like, we have these devices and we're not just using them for entertainment anymore, we're using them at pretty much every single second of our lives. And this is where these micro moments that matter come up when people are in the supermarkets looking for information about products, when the first introduction to your business is going to be through online. So what does this mean for your business, and what does this mean for your opportunity to be able to brand and position yourself in these moments to be able to grow your business? So if we look at like this new change that we have in terms of how people find businesses, how they find products, we can say that there's a lot of change going on. But one thing that has not changed is marketing. So fundamentally, marketing has not changed. It's still about reaching the right audience with the right message at the right time. So how can you as a business position your products to the audience that would be relevant for you to engage? So although this is pretty much the name of the game, but the rules and the opportunities of how you do this have changed. So we're going to talk a little bit about what the opportunities are with some of the solutions that Google offers. So as we see today, we have these changes going on. What is also relevant is that there's a lot of companies out there who have realized this, and they are also looking to position themselves in front of this audience that is today digital. So how can you differentiate yourselves and not only be there in the moments that matter, but also win in the moments that matter? How can you compete maybe with some of the bigger companies that have bigger marketing budgets and you might be limited on resources and still grow your business by branding yourself in the right way? So to kind of address those challenges and those opportunities, we want to structure the presentation around these three pillars. So as we said, it's about putting your products and your business in front of the right audience at scale. So we want to talk about reach. Where is the audience today? They are digital, and they are many of Google's platforms. So we want to introduce some of them to you. How can you have an impact so you can win in these moments that matter? How can you differentiate yourself? And then ultimately, you also want to be able to measure the effects of the investment that you choose to make. So there's a lot of different marketing mediums today, especially compared to 30 years ago, where before you might only just have TV or print. Today there's a lot of different platforms out there. So for you to know which one is relevant for your business, you want to look at the potential for reach and impact, and you want to be able to actively measure your return on investment for you to be able to keep making smart marketing decisions. So we'll start out by talking about reach. So you want to pick a marketing medium that has the audience that might potentially be interested in your products, and you want to be able to kind of reach those people at scale. And if we look at Google, so there's about 2 billion people in the world that use Google services, and we have three main platforms that we offer advertising solutions through. So it's YouTube ads, it's the Google Display Network. That means that you have the possibility to show off your products or your business on specific websites, and there's Google Search, specifically the search ads. What these platforms have in common is that usually there is a context there that is relevant for your business. When people are actively searching for your business, so if we take Google Search as an example, whereas before we might have just written shoes, today we write, I need a specific product for my size 38 foot, for example. So there's a lot of context there of people actively searching for specific products and specific information that you as a company have the possibility to connect with. And then the display network is basically finding out what are all the different websites that your audience might potentially go to and having a placement there and having a position there. And then YouTube we're going to go more in-depth with because that's a more visual medium. And especially if you're a smaller company, you're first starting out, there's a lot of opportunity there to build your brand and really introduce your let's say the audience that you're looking to engage to your business for the first time. So to expand a little bit more on YouTube, so it's the place that the world comes for video. So the way I want to kind of position this is I want you guys to look at YouTube as a global TV channel, because it is in many ways a global TV channel in terms of the reach, in terms of how the medium works. It's a visual medium, and people go there for video content. So it's a great way, especially if you have a new product or if you have a more, let's say, advanced product, to explain what is the value that you offer and kind of brand yourself in that way, or whatever message you have. There's a lot of opportunity there to communicate more, let's say, emotionally than, for example, with search ads where the context is different. People are actively searching for your product, so it's enough just to give them a guide to your website or wherever you want them to go. So the main, let's say, advertising solution that we have is something we call the TrueView format. So basically, how many of you guys have seen those ads on YouTube that you're able to skip? Most of you? So the whole context there is the first 5 seconds is an introduction to the user of who you are as a business and what your message is. And then after those 5 seconds, users are able to skip that ad if they choose that it's not relevant for them. For an advertiser, if a user decides to skip that ad before they've seen 30 seconds, that is free marketing. So there's no cost associated to the first 29 seconds of advertising on YouTube. Only when the viewer sees more than 30 seconds do you actually pay, because we see that it's an indicator people are interested in your products. We want to reward the users for seeing that video, and then you also make an investment there. So we want to kind of illustrate this format a little bit, and I'll hand over to Philip, who's going to take you through a bit of an exercise.
Yeah, so before starting this video, I want everyone to raise their hands. Come on now. And when you feel that this ad actually doesn't appeal to you, I want you to drop your hands, okay?
Hey there, YouTuber! Now stop me if you heard this one. A lion, a zebra, a hippo, and a giraffe walk into a casino. Run from the law.
Guys, you got a tail.
Zebras can't drive. Only penguins and people can drive.
End up in a wild chase.
Oh, yay!
All across Europe. So I've got 4 Zeusters in need of a getaway, and you're drooling on your keyboard. I'll give you something to tweet about. My thoughts exactly, Rico.
So only now did we reach the 30-second mark. So I think we saw just one hand that stayed up. So there's a couple of different interesting aspects to this. So the first of all of you who raised your hand, that's the audience you normally would pay for, although they're not really interested in your message if you were to use other mediums. So here, the first 29 seconds, we were able to eliminate all the people who were not interested and who were not the relevant audience. The second observation could be, I can't remember who was that kept their hand up, was also in turn, there were a lot of people who kept their hand up for a while who might not necessarily be the right target audience. So if you look at this, this is, I guess, more of a cartoon or an animation video where usually you would assume the target audience would be kids or only parents. You might actually find out that your target audience might be different than what you actually assume them to be. So this is where traditionally in marketing, what we usually do, we segment, we have a specific age group, we have specific demographics that we segment towards, because that is the indicator of they might be interested in what we have to offer as a business. But here we're working with an engagement model. So we actively ask the market in real time, are you interested in my product or not? And if they're not, then there's no need for you to be paying for that advertisement. But you also do want to have the opportunity to kind of expose to a wide range of people and see, okay, who would be interested in the products we have to offer in the business that we are. So then if we talk about impact, so once you have this opportunity, you have the possibility to put out your business and communicate a certain message on YouTube. How can you have more of an impact than you do today, for example? And that is to use this format more creatively. So we have companies who choose to do longer videos, they choose to do short videos, and they choose to let the market decide what sort of content they want to see. Have you guys ever thought about what is the best way for me to kind of brand my business? What is the best message that people might be interested in? And you have to pick one. And then you have an internal discussion, and you pick whichever one you want to go with. Here we say, put all of the video, put all of the content that you have around your company, and then let's see actually how the market is going to respond. And your investment and your return on investment is going to be based off of what the market is interested in. So it gives you a lot more opportunity to have more of an impact. We're going to go into a couple of cases in terms of what that means for what people then decide to do once they've been exposed to your business. So here's a case, for example, with Gillette, where they basically, if you go on their YouTube channel, they have about 15 or 20 different videos that has to do with their razor blades here. And what they chose to do was basically push all of them out and see, okay, which ones are people mostly interested in? Is it mostly men? Is it women? And there's a couple of examples of the target audience down here. So there's one especially in the middle where we have Lisa, who usually buys grooming products for her husband. But initially, if they were to do a TV campaign, they would have said, let's target towards a male demographic because that's the ones who use the razor blades, excluding, let's say, the girlfriend or the wife, who actually also would be in the market or in the target audience to purchase this product.
Yeah, so basically, this is Gillette. It's a big brand, but to prove the point that we also work with smaller brands, we have another clip coming up here.
So this is the Dollar Shave Club. This is a much smaller company, pretty much a startup that also had some blades, a similar product to Gillette. They didn't have a big marketing budget as Gillette did, but they still were able to kind of leverage this format, have an interesting message, and kind of use YouTube as the platform for them to advertise on.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop-up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay.
So that's a brief example of how you can use this platform. And the reason they chose YouTube was, hey, there's a wide audience on YouTube. We also know that there's a lot of big advertisers on there, but we're still able to differentiate ourselves, and we're also able to test the platform without actually having to do a large initial investment and then hope for the best. So then they were able to see, okay, we spent our budget wherever people were interested in us and the unique product that we have to offer and the messaging there. And the last thing we want to touch upon is measuring results and optimizing. So you can imagine if you've identified a platform like YouTube, there's a global audience on there, you're able to see how you can have an impact by being a bit more creative. There's a lot of flexibility on the format. You're also able to bring in a lot of data on what is actually working or what's not working to not only inform your marketing strategy, but also inform maybe some of your product development. So if you start to see that you have 3 or 4 different videos highlighting different aspects of your business and products, you're able to measure the results, and basically based off of what the audience connected with, you can work more on that. So one thing that you could do with YouTube also is you show the first video, and then you can continue the story. So you can say all of the people who were interested in our product and our business, we can do something called remarketing, which is basically once they've seen the ad from start to finish, the next video that they see is a continuation of the story. Why show the same boring or same message that they've already seen before? So, and this is I guess like a core challenge that usually we have in marketing is basically half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half. So here you're able to kind of find out which half am I wasting, but I actually even waste less, because if you're not connected with your audience, there's no cost associated to the advertising. And once you're able to measure, you're able to optimize both your communication strategy, both your marketing, but you're also able to improve and have even bigger of an impact. And so this is what we kind of work on a day-to-day basis with companies, is to figure out, okay, so how can they have an impact on a medium that has a lot of reach, and what sort of things should they be measuring? Because one thing that comes with the territory is that there is a lot of things that you can measure. You do get a lot of data. So how can you turn that data into information that you can actively use? So this is where we're basically actively inviting you guys to kind of join us after the presentation to kind of maybe discuss your unique situation and how we can help you, especially if you're already thinking about you're about to launch a new product and you want to have some sort of a communication marketing strategy. Definitely see us afterwards, and we'll be able to kind of guide you through some of the different opportunities. And now you've gotten a general overview, but now the question probably is, how does this relate to us? We're in this specific unique situation. Can this actually work for us? So let's definitely have a conversation around that. And maybe Philip can also expand a little bit about how that process goes and what support we offer.
Yeah, so just to summarize, please feel free to reach out to us afterwards so we can look at your brand and your challenges. Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions around the format? Has anyone used or have any experiences with YouTube so far? There's one down there. Good point. So the question is, how do you measure the reach on YouTube compared to TV? So you're able to get measurement on specifically how many people, so active, like real life human people, have seen your video. How many of them chose to see it all the way from start to finish, or just decided to skip it? So you're able to reach. You're able to measure the reach in unique people viewing it, but you're also able to see what percentage of, let's say, the market or share of voice that you have on YouTube. And then you're able also to like time that by the amount of frequency. So on TV, usually what you're looking at is GRP, so gross target rating points, where you're looking at how many people that are reached and how many times were they exposed to my message. You're able to kind of see similar metrics on YouTube as well. But what we also want to go and kind of educate you guys about a little bit is maybe going from maybe the standard way of doing things, where you're going looking at let's say traditional KPIs, to maybe working more with a model of looking at how valuable is this engagement for me. And what happens is, usually without having to, let's say, do the segmentation, you're able to say, I want to reach all of Finland's population, if that is your target group, because that's free. And then you're only going to be paying for the people in those small groups of the population that were actually interested in your products. Question? Yeah, so examples in terms of what you can find out when people actually engage with the video. So you can see, first of all, how long people watch the video before they decide to skip it, but also not only how long they saw it from 0 to 30 seconds, there's also an example of Nike putting out a 9-hour video, or let's say longer videos. Also, it's interesting to see if a person is interested to see your video from 0 to 30 seconds, would they then not also be interested in seeing it for longer periods of time? So are you giving them too little content where they actually didn't want to see more from you? So you're able to see, okay, so how long did they watch the video? You're able to see how many of them actually clicked on the ad. You're able to drive them to a specific website for your call of action. You're also able to see where did people watch it. Did they watch it in a specific country, in a specific city? What sort of device did they watch it on? Did they see it on a desktop, laptop, or specifically on a smartphone, which we're seeing like the viewing rates are going up there. And based off of all this data, you're able to kind of customize your strategy, saying, okay, we need to invest more in our mobile site. So maybe some of you guys have a consideration now, okay, should we have a mobile site or not? This is a way, maybe if you put out some content to see, okay, how do people interact with our brand? Okay, we see that they really watch the video on their mobile, so maybe it's going to be naturally for us to actually do that investment there. Yeah, so I think maybe in there we'll go a little bit into the targeting. So in terms of what you can do targeting-wise, you're able to keep it very broad, so you can reach all of the YouTube's population and let the format segment itself in terms of who is interested in your products and your business. But you're also able to segment on specific demographics, specific content, time of day, and so on and so forth. And the last thing I'll say about the YouTube part is it's not just entertainment videos. You do have a lot of how-to videos, a lot of business information out there. So there's definitely a pocket of the audience that is interested in whatever you guys have to offer.